Hello, I'm John Feldt, and this is the weekly water outlook for the Midwest. Well, for a good part of the Midwest, we had a welcome rain and very needed rain. Rain tended to fall where it was needed the most. The area of green is indicating 3 to 4 days where at least there was some rain. Blue is actually 6 days, so it's been very wet over southern and southeast Missouri. But at least 2 or 3 or 4 days of rain over the last 7 days, ending the 20th of September, over parts of Iowa, Wisconsin, and northern Missouri. That area really needed the rain. Matter of fact, before this rain event, you can see that orange color is 6 to 9 inches of rain that was needed. The medium orange is 3 to 6. Now, we didn't get that much, but we did get an inch or so over that area, and any bit we can get was really needed. So we didn't necessarily put all that much of a dent into the drought, but we did at least alleviate very far upper soil moisture, just a tad, with that rainfall. So how much rain did we get over the last 7 days? The areas in yellow are 2 inches or more. So Indiana and Ohio received some 2 inches of rain or more. And even though that's really been in the best shape as far as the Midwest goes over the summer, it has been trending dry over the last 3 to 4 weeks. So that was definitely needed in that area. As we get into the middle part of the nation, we can see anywhere from 1 inch up to even 3 to 4 inches, maybe even 5 inches in isolated spots right around Kansas City. So definitely an area that's been parched over the summertime. Got some needed rain, but it was definitely soaked up. The threshold values as far as runoff are about 3 to 4 or more inches, so any of this rain pretty much soaked into soils. Now, if we take a look at the percent of normal precipitation over the last 7 days, we see red indicating below normal, blue indicating above normal, and it was so much of a patchwork. Over the upper Midwest, you can see more red. It was dry over most of the Dakotas, most of Minnesota, and then from Iowa and Missouri on east, more areas than not reported above normal precipitation. Now, the story all summer has been the mean position of this upper ridge. This is the current jet stream, and here's the mean position right now, right over here over the middle part of the nation. And this has really been the driver of precipitation patterns. Sometimes it's been in the middle part of the nation, sometimes it's been west. All summer long, it's been alternating back and forth. Now, I'm going to give you a hint. Looks like it's going to be strongly building back towards the west, which is going to allow this trough of low pressure to dig in the east. It's going to bring cooler air over the eastern U.S. I'll be talking about that in just a bit. Not much going on in the tropics. Sometimes we get tropical moisture up into the Midwest, which can alter the water situation. But right now, very quiet season, unusually quiet season, and maybe even a record-breaking low activity season. And we are on the downslope here. The arrow here is indicating about where we're at for the next couple weeks. It continues down very, very quickly. We're past the peak. I think we're still in a time of season when we can get a lot of activity, but it's going down very quickly. Now, the stream flow, I haven't showed this for a number of weeks. I'll occasionally show 7-day average stream flow. Iowa has really been very low, and that's been contributing to below normal stream flow on parts of the Mississippi River. Elsewhere, fairly close to normal. Now, the upper Missouri River in the Dakotas, you can see that is above normal stream flow in that region. One of the stories that's really been unfolding is the expansion of the drought. This is the U.S. Drought Monitor. This brown is the most severe drought. That's a D2 drought, and that is a severe drought. And really, it's been centered from western Iowa into northern Missouri. That's sort of the core, but it has spread to the east and spread to the north as we've gone through the last 4 to 6 weeks, extending now well towards the central part and the eastern part of the Corn Belt. Now, the rain fell right in this region right here, so you can see it really fell over the area of most extreme drought where it was needed. And then some of this abnormally dry, the yellow, it fell in that area as well, so it'll help in that area in the eastern part of the Corn Belt. So taking a look at the jet stream analysis, what we see here is early this week and late this week. Early this week's in blue, late this week is in orange, and really it's going to be a transition. We have a pocket of energy here that's going to be coming out and moving up to the northeast, And really the two action areas as far as precipitation are going to be the southeast U.S. and then along this core of energy. And that will bring some rain, again, to areas that could use it within the Midwest, but definitely not the entire region. It's going to be fairly scattered as far as where that goes. Now, I mentioned as we get into early October, the jet stream looks like it's going to once again amplify over the west and dig in the east. That's going to bring cooler temperatures over much of the Midwest, especially the eastern Midwest. And oftentimes that has brought some showery weather as well in that area. The most dry and warm temperatures are going to be along this area of high pressure, perhaps in the far western part of the Midwest. So we might get this transition again, western part of the Midwest, warmer temperatures, eastern part of the Midwest, cooler temperatures. So the rainfall forecast the next 7 days, blue is over 1 inch of rain, and that's that stripe of rain with that upper energy. That is often, this type of forecast with that energy, it's somewhat a lower confidence as far as the actual amounts and location, but that is right along that path of upper energy. But everywhere else you can see, even though it's shaded in some green, that's very modest amounts of rainfall. So I think we're going to be looking at a quiet week over most of the Midwest, with the exception of that streak of rain, perhaps over parts of Nebraska, up towards Minnesota. Matter of fact, if we go through October 8th, I did want to point out that this is most likely over the far upper Midwest into the Great Lakes. That's associated with that upper low and that trough of low pressure. This is associated with the rainfall coming in this week. Otherwise, fairly quiet across the Midwest. So here are your takeaway points. Some precipitation this week, but for most areas, mainly quiet. The ridge will be building to the west, and that'll mean that the cooler temperature will be building in over week 2, and perhaps some showery weather over the upper parts of the Midwest and the Great Lakes states. Thank you for listening to the week's briefing. I will be speaking with you again next week.